told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coco's Book Nook. It's been a while and I am so sorry. Life has been absolutely freaking crazy and it's just finally settling down, hopefully, fingers crossed. I wanted to do a 2022 stats video with you. I just finished filling out my Cawpile from last year, and I kind of wanted to go over it with y'all and just let y'all know, like, what I read, how much I read, genres, everything. So, I guess, here we go. Total books in 2022, I read 127 books. I did DNF one book, so in April, I read the most books. If you were here for Realmathon with Covers with Cassidy, we all read a crap ton of books in April. It was a great month. I'm excited for Realmathon this year. And then I think my least was October. I don't even have any stats for October because October was October. And I, didn't read anything. Didn't really do anything. It was crap month. Total pages read this year was 48,569. I listened to 1,305 minutes of audiobook, hours of audiobook, not minutes. My biggest pages read was, of course, April, coming in at 10,873, which is not at all surprising considering how much I read in April. My biggest listening month was April again, coming in at 302 hours. My next biggest was March at 236, and of course the least was October. There's nothing for October. My one DNF was Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I could not get through it. I don't even think I even made it halfway before I'm like, nope, absolutely not, I can't. Like, I could not physically continue listening to it. It was just, I couldn't. That was in May. And that is the only book that I have ever DNF'd. Ever. So, that's saying something because I don't DNF books. Next stats we have is our reading method. My biggest was obviously audiobooks, coming in at 81.1%, which 103 books, which is about fair, because that's the majority of my reading was audiobooks this year. Physically it was 13 books at 10.2%. I have ebooks at 4.7 with 6 books. And then I have 5, which I'm pretty positive are mangas and graphic novels. I did read a few of those this year. Next up we have our book length. I was kind of all over the board this year with my book length. My main group was 350 to 400 pages, so about the average length of a normal book. I did have a couple chunkers in there. My next biggest was 400 to 450. I didn't really read a lot of, like, big, thick books this year, which is actually surprising because I always go for the chunkers. Genres. Fantasy is my biggest. Are you surprised? Because I'm not. 76 books at 59.8%. 60% of my books were fantasy in some sort or another. Contemporary, I had 4.7, romance was 3.1. I did read a lot more thriller, horror, and mystery this year. And then I even threw in some science fiction at 3.9%. I read 13 different genres this year, which is good because I wanted to branch out this year with my reading and kind of dive into stuff that I would never pick up on my own. So that's great. Next up we have our ratings. I tried to be a little bit more picky about my ratings this year. Usually I just kind of like base it off my feelings. I just started using Cawpile in 2021, kind of started more critiquing my books on how I like them and like what I actually find enjoyable in books. My biggest this year was 4 stars at 42.9%. My next one was 3 stars at 34.1%. So I'm definitely staying right there in between the 3 and 4s. I did have a couple 1 stars at 3.2, and I even had a couple 2 stars at 6.3. My 5 stars, surprisingly, I only had 17 books for 5 stars at 13.5%. Because I don't go in a book and be like, I hate it or I love it. Like that's kind of how, like, if I enjoy it, I'm like, oh cool, I enjoy it. If it literally intrigues me and it keeps me into that book, I will rate it a 5 star because to me that's a 5-star book, is when you cannot put it down and you like, it captivates you and you can't like release it type of book. My age category, I am a huge young adult fan, or I was. I guess with my age I've been kind of going the opposite way. I'm more into adult books now. I still love my YA. I did have 28.3% on my YA. I had 3.9% on new adult, which is mostly Sarah J. Maas and books like that. My adult books was at 67.7% this year, so I have definitely like way branched out of that young adult. Publication year, I definitely stuck in the 2021-2020 era this year and just like reading as many books as I could, but they all kind of seem to be in that publication year. 2021 was at 18.1%, 2020 was at 15%. I did read a couple that were not in that, but it pretty much just ranges from 2015 to 2022. With 2021 being my biggest publication year, because I think I was just kind of backlisting through 2021 mostly. My how I got it, Scribd is my biggest one because I am a big fan of Scribd and their audiobooks. I have 65.4% of my audiobooks came from Scribd. Not books in general, just audiobooks. Owned books at 20.5%. Some of those are maybe audiobooks, but mostly Scribd is where I read those type of books at. My library, I got a Libby account this year. I've been utilizing it heavily. Last year was 5.5% on Libby. Audible, 8.7%. And then series. 73.2% on series for the year. Like, a good 75% of the books I read this year were part of series. If not start a series, but continuing series. So, yeah, that's wonderful. Standalones, 26.8%. So I didn't really read a lot of standalones. Most of them were series. Which I am a huge series reader, so that's not too surprising to me, but I could have read a little bit more standalone-ish books, but so I started 49 series this year. I read 43 sequels this year, and I finished 7 series. So, I mean, that's not bad to finish 7 series out of 49 that I started. And then I only had 1 reread this year. I read The Hunger Games. I still hated the book. But most of my books, I read them for the first time. I've been trying to not reread books as I go. unless it's part of a series and I have not read it in a very, very long time, or I'm feeling nostalgic and I really want to listen to Harry Potter, then I'll do that. But I'm trying to not reread and trying to find new stuff to love type of situation, so that definitely portrayed into last year a lot. I did want to show this, my number of books per author. As you can see, Ruby Dixon is at 13 books. Those are Ice Planet Barbarian books. Those are all read in April. They're quick. They're like 2 hours for an audiobook. I think I read like 4 of them, or listened to 4 of them in a day at work. Like, they were quick and they were easy. I read from 80 different authors this year, which is fantastic. I want to branch out and I want to start reading more authors, like more authors that I'm not more typical to pick up, like a Scott Westerfeld. I will pick any of his books up. I love Scott Westerfeld. So I'm kind of trying to branch out and read from different authors. So hopefully that reflects into 2023 as well. And I think that's all I have for you guys today. I mean, I've read 127 books with one DNF, almost 50,000 pages, which is a lot. That's a lot of books, a lot of pages. So my goals for 2023 is to branch out more, read more genres this year. I want to read more authors this year. I definitely want to finish more series and not start a crap ton of series like I have been. I definitely want to read more standalones. I want to definitely branch out and get out of my comfort zone and read some more, definitely like high fantasy, like Robin Hobb. Definitely read some more Brandon Sanderson books, stuff like that. That's kind of my goals. My reading goal for the year of 2023 is going to be 130 books. Hopefully it's doable. We'll see. But that's kind of all I have for you guys today. Thank you, and have a good night. Bye!
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient.